I want to get the views of the Labour Party. So I'm joined now by Labour MP for Birmingham Perry Bar, Khalid Mahmood. Thank you very much. Great to have you on the show. So Suella Braverman has said that patriotism is a good thing, the nation state is a great thing, and that population growth can't be too quick because it means that there's no integration. A misguided dogma of multiculturalism is toxic. Is she right?
Absolutely, absolutely not. She has just made a huge amount of bluster with no competence involved in it at all. She hasn't been able to resolve the issue of the people on the boats coming through. She spent over £200 million on the Rwanda refugees project, £18 million on the BB Stockholm, billions of pounds in hotels, people, and she's not processing those people so we can see who to take out of the country and who to keep in the country. Talking like this doesn't do anything. She talks about culture. This government has stopped the ESOL funding for people coming in who can integrate and learn English. So they're not able to do that because the funding for those English classes has stopped. She doesn't want to get people involved in employment and to do things. She will not provide safe routes that she's talking about. Will she tell us? Will she tell us when she says that we all have a responsibility to take proper refugees, which I agree with, what's going to be her statistics? What's going to be her numbers? How many people is she going to agree with? So this is all bluster as she normally does, but actually delivers nothing. They've not, with all the laws they've put in, I'm sorry, with all the laws they've put in, they've not stopped them so far.
Would you be against an updated version of the UN Refugees Convention, which says, which basically makes it tougher for anyone to claim to be a refugee? Would you be up for that, do you think, then?
No, I think we've got to look. If there's an issue to look at, the United Nations should look at it, but I don't think you're going to get very far with that because the United Nations never moved to do anything positively. What we've got to do is look at is the problems that we've caused across the world, ranging from Afghanistan to Iraq to Syria to Libya and everywhere else in the world.
Is it honestly, Khalid,
despot countries? No, we've got to deal with them. We've got to deal with them honestly. And what we've got to do is not cut our aid.
OK, right. Look, honestly, on the day that Suella Braverman has just stood up in Washington and said that, you know, it's an international problem, that borders are something that's worth protecting, that countries are something that's worth protecting, that schools are going to have to find 213,000 new places by 2026, that immigration is responsible for 45% of new housing, 1 in 5 births in this country now are to foreign-born mothers. You look at Paris, half of crimes apparently are committed by illegal migrants over there. That half of Americans say that their southern border is being invaded. And are you genuinely saying to me that the Labour Party thinks that we just need to suck it up and atone for our actions in places like Afghanistan and just roll over and accept?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Sir Keir Starmer has been across to France, has struck some deals, and he's going to work through that. He's going to put proper resources in to deal with this. Our own border force patrolling it, along with the special units, immigration units, to look at this. We're going to put proper resources to deal with it.
What are the deals Keir Starmer's struck? What are the deals? Sorry, what are the deals that Keir Starmer struck?
He's just spoken to President Cameron about looking at how we'll deal with this, and he's got some good response from him. And what he's going to do when he comes into power, he will put those into place. He's somebody who understands the law. He's somebody who understands how to deal with these issues structurally, and he's not somebody who just blusters and makes, in some instances,
I've got to drill down on that, Khalid, I'm afraid.
Comments.
I'm sorry. I've got to drill down on that because, look, whether or not people like it, and fair enough, I get that you don't like it, but what Suella Braverman was saying was that due to civic, security, practical and democratic issues, we have to get a control of migration. Illegal migration. What she's urging the world to do is to change the definition from the refugees, basically, to make it less likely and less easy for anybody to become a refugee. She makes a pretty strong case for that. She says that if the world did that, then we would be able to enforce things like the illegal migration bill and the Rwanda plan. With respect, Khalid, what I think you've said to me is that Keir Starmer has struck a secret deal with Emmanuel Macron. Is that right?
Well, what he's doing is he's negotiated a deal with him. He's talking to him, and once he gets into power, he will have further discussions. Well, one of the key things is looking at joining border forces, both with the French and our border force to be able to control those people. The National Crime Agency having more powers to deal with these boats coming through and investigating people across into France and into Europe and dealing with those people who are trafficking these people. So those people are going to be stopped. This government hasn't succeeded in doing that.
Okay.
And that's what Sir Keir Starmer is saying. Right. Deal with the people at the cause and sort it out.
Do you think if somebody has fled a country or left a country and has lived safely in a safe country for years, that they should still be able to claim asylum in Britain?
No, I think what the issue with that is simply if they're living in a safe place, they shouldn't be able to come across and do that.
So you agree?
What you've got to strike a deal with Europe. What you're going to, not what she's saying, what you're going to strike a deal with is, first of all, she's going to come up with the figures of what she thinks is acceptable. And the big issue that you're missing here is the amount of 8 billion or 7 billion pounds that we're paying for hotels daily. If she processes those people, those are not entitled to stay here would go and would leave. So we would continue to pay huge amounts of money. She's unsuccessful in dealing with it.
I think maybe, genuinely politely, I think maybe you're missing the point, because what she's saying is that at the moment, under the current definition of what it is to be a refugee, we just have to accept most of those people, even if they are economic migrants. That's what she's looking to change. So we could process them all day long, right? But we'd end up with most of them staying, even though maybe they don't deserve to.
But we're not processing them, that's the problem. The reason why there's a huge cost at the moment is because we're not. So let's get on and do the proper work,
but that would mean
them,
that they,
and then see what we've got to deal with and resolve those issues.
But unless they change the definition of what it is to be a refugee, okay, then that would mean that most people are able to stay, which is possibly why we're not processing so many of them at the minute, because we know that. In order to do that through the United Nations, it'll take you something in the region of 3 to 5 years. So you're telling me Suella's happy to pay for those people's hotel costs here for the next 3 to 5 years without sorting out what their status should be, and those people who are not entitled to stay should then be allowed to go back to where they've come from. That's what the Labour Party is saying, not keeping these people at huge cost to our constituents, to all the people across the country, and that is what will make a difference. Processing these people and getting them, those that are not entitled to be here, then sending them back. But do the proper thing, do the right people, for the British people, and provide security and safety and cultural issues for them by not hatred, but doing the right thing, which is what we should do. Be firm and be strong on refugees and do it properly, which is what Keir Starmer wants to do. So Labour's plan to deal with potentially 780 million people being eligible for refugee status in the Western world and in Britain would be to process them quicker?
No, you're totally misleading the question here. What the Labour Party has said it will do, first of all, 80 million people are not going to come to the UK, nor should they be able to come to the UK. We have to look at those serious issues that people actually manage to arrive here. First of all, what we've said all along is provide safe corridors for these people to travel, so we can vet these people at the point of it before they even get into the United Kingdom, and to see who deserves to be here, who doesn't. So when there are legal immigrants, then we can deal with that. But what she's doing is clumping everything together, not providing safe routes for people to come through, and that is what she's got to do to deal with this. And she hasn't done any of the substance, she hasn't done any of the work, and now she's going off making huge grand speeches just because the party conference is coming. That's what all this is about.
It's fascinating stuff, Khalid. Thank you very much. I could talk to you about this all day. I really do appreciate you coming on. Honestly, genuinely, I do. No, it's great. It's great to hear the Labour side of this. Khalid Mahmood there.